The worst panic attack I had, I used to be addicted to Adderall, and I went to this is when I lived back in Louisville. I went to a psychiatrist and I told her I was addicted, and she was like, well, we could prescribe some for you and then you'll no longer be addicted. So
to an illegal substance?
Yeah, I got a prescription. I was like, all right.
What kind of ho-dank
I was like,
doctor is this?
I was thinking rehab, but sure.
Sure, enable me.
She gave me Vyvanse and I got really addicted and I started running out. I needed to buy some more, but I couldn't find some one day. And I found this guy, and he was like a very shitty drug dealer. And I asked him if he had any Adderall, and he said no, but he had this other drug that his uncle made in his basement. So I took it. And
God.
And I was working at the time. I was a greeter at H&R Block because that's the only job I could get. The only experience I had was in saying hello. Just like, hey, how can you get your taxes? And then I just...
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Panic Attacking, the podcast where we look at anxiety through a comedy lens. I'm Andrew Chavone.
And I'm Stephen Rogers.
We are joined by Raanan Hershberg. You're going to see him right after this intro. We get in a lot of funny stuff. We try a new segment out where we ask, what would you do? And it turns into a lot of funny stories. And we get to him about his darkest anxiety moments by accident. So stay tuned for that.
We also get into listener topics such as should you bring the laptop in the bathroom with you when you have to go to the bathroom at a public cafe?
And what do you do if your friend is in a toxic relationship?
All that and more. It's a super fun episode. Raanan is really funny. Stay tuned to the end to hear his plugs and where you can check him out. But he has a great album out there called Downhill Ever Since, and also does a YouTube show with Joe List called Raanan and Joe Talk Movies. But this is a great episode, and enjoy.
Yeah, so if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe and bell notification. That helps us out. And if you're not listening on YouTube and doing it through the podcast universe, please go on your YouTube. We need 100 subscribers. We're almost there.
Almost.
So such a sad, low number. But we just started YouTube, so we just need these things so we can change our stuff and add some more cool things to the podcast YouTube page.
Yes, and sharing and writing reviews, all that good stuff. If you've even had just a couple laughs from us, you're really helping us a great deal. We really appreciate it. Also, our Patreon is just $5 a month. You get bonus episodes, 4 bonus episodes a month, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so check that all out. Stay tuned for this episode because this made me laugh a whole bunch. And Raanan thought I was laughing so much to make fun of him, but I wasn't. But stay tuned for the music, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Stephen Rogers.
I'm Andrew Chavone. Thanks for listening to our intro music. We have a special guest in store for you all. He's right here. We got Raanan Hershberg.
Hey, how's it going? Was I supposed to do something more? I feel
no, you're fine.
I feel like I just said hi, and you're all like, "That's it." You're just hi.
No, you're just supposed to stare and breathe exasperatedly.
Yeah, so you did it. It was perfect.
I think we just pressed record, so the audience really missed something beautiful, which is them both giving me 30 minutes of protocol on how the show is loose. 30 minutes of guidelines. That said, the show is loose. It was about 30 minutes where the message was the show is loose, and 12 guidelines on how I should just be myself. Like, if any story comes to your head or anything you want to say, or if you just want to be exactly how you're planning, go be that thing.
We were like, you can be yourself, but only if it's this version, or this version.
You're like, you literally were telling me how thoughts work. Like, if a story comes up, they literally said that. They're like, if a story comes up, just you can feel free to bring it up. It's like, yeah, I know how conversation works.
Well, now I feel bad for showing that PDF of the brain. Like, this is a synapse.
The whole reason we said all that stuff to you is because we don't know how conversation
works. I know.
work.
It's like
obviously
2 robots teaching me doing a TED talk on fucking human interaction. And if a story comes to your head, bring it up at that moment to sound natural.
Yeah, the big thing is to sound natural as artificially as possible.
I'm not exaggerating about this at all. I mean, I guess
no, you're not.
I'm really not. It was literally like, and if you feel free to make fun of us or other people, it's like, yeah, I'm a comedian. I know how this.
We don't get outside much. So
Yeah.
Right.
It's oh man, this is already the best one. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm going to be overthinking everything I say from this point on, but
Just only from this point on.
Oh, and Steven, I don't want to interrupt you, but are you filming the way it films with 3 people at once?
yes.
Are you sure? Because it's doing the screen mode or whatever.
Yeah, I have.
Okay. All right. I'm
This
just.
is-
Oh, are you
thing-
talking about the thing where like you record it afterwards? It just cuts from like close up to close up.
It
Yeah, I hate
films
that
in
part.
2 different versions.
I did that
and,
too. I did
it's
that too
literally-
with Joe in our pod, and it was like close with the both of us. And it was that was the episode where like I just had sauce on my beard the entire time, and you probably wouldn't have been able to see it as clearly if it was just 2 kind of like but like everyone just saw it the whole time.
It's
Just sauce?
something I've taken care of months ago, but he wanted to make sure that it hasn't changed during the episode.
Well, there
Well,
was
I mean-
there was an episode where he reassured me he figured it out, and then it wasn't. So
That was like the first one.
This episode should just be called False Starts because I feel like we've gone through 100 of them at this point.
The podcast should be called Steven, I don't want to interrupt you, but here I go.
I don't want to interrupt you, but are we having a podcast right now? Is this happening right now?
Oh man.
Segue. Yeah. So
So the reason we're having you on, which by the way, perfect guest for the show if there's ever been one.
yeah.
And it's
Yet
taken,
I'm the 400th guest.
I mean
Perfect at 400.
perfect one 400th normal.
Yeah. But no, it's cool. I actually thought I'd been on the show before, which is really
Yes.
you did. You,
Yeah,
you said
the ultimate insult. It's like a new level of indifference where I just thought I had been on it.
I know.
I've never had a close friend big time me before.
And then it was big timing and dismissive because you were like, I forget how it was last time.
Yeah.
Well, one of
And we're like, what?
on the 12th false start, they said either way. I wish we had none of this got recorded. This is like
No,
the most,
I wish it did. I should have just recorded
It would
it.
be the amazing study on just autism. It's like at one point, you all said, yeah. Though you've never been on the show, we've changed the structure. And I was
Yeah,
like,
that.
I was
Well,
like,
you
I
said
don't give a shit. Then.
Well, I was giving you a heads up because we're gonna do it for the first time. So
Well,
we're
I
gonna
don't know. You're doing it for the first time.
just to
That's
cut
why
us
I
some
thought.
slack.
That's why I thought I had been on the show. You're like, we're changing the structure. I'm like, I guess I've been on. Otherwise,
Oh,
they
man.
need to tell me that.
I need the listeners at this point to know this is what it's like if the 3 of us are not recording. This is
Right.
the same thing.
Well, that's
It's-
how a podcast should be, right?
It's beautifully.
all natural.
Once again, Steve interrupt. Just want you all to know we're all being completely authentic right now. We are all being,
That was me
Forever.
being authentic by not being authentic.
Renan, can you turn up your mic a little more because it's we're not coming across too
Is
well.
it too hot? I've been getting
It's too high. Yeah, I
it's too-
feel like a Burger King
God
drive-through.
damn it. All right, what like this is good.
This is
You're
great.
doing great.
Perfect.
Shit, I
Okay.
got complaints on my not my other pod. I've already taken this pod over. On the one the Joe Raanan talk movies about it being too hot. The mic. So
Oh, really?
I
Oh.
guess it's correct. I
By
mean,
the-
what?
By
It's
the
good
end
now.
of this episode, Renan's gonna fire both of us. And, he's gonna
be
say,
a
"Thanks for
hostile
coming on,
takeover."
guys."
Do you all like? I get really mean comments in mine. Do you all get mean comments?
We've gotten
we did-
like maybe 1 or 2 mean reviews, but then
Yeah.
but comments are on their
Well,
way.
we just started going on to YouTube, so we're going bracing for it.
Yeah,
Before we
yeah.
used to be audio only. Now we're
Oh yeah, well YouTube is where I mean. Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
shit gets. I'll like look at comments just to like you want to see a good one. You feel good. And they'll
Oh
be like,
God,
they'll
what are
be-
you doing?
I know there'll be like a kind of good one, like fun podcast, guys, keep it coming. But then the
Yeah.
next one will be like Raanan should have died in Auschwitz, and I was like, I feel like this is way worse than the.
My God.
keep them coming, you know.
when I'm guest on other podcasts, that's where the mean ones come from because I'm the outsider. So
Yeah,
the worst comment I ever got was the comment that said, this guy Andrew's painfully lame.
That's the worst. I've got.
That was worse. I was maybe self-conscious. I was like, is my lameness affecting others to the point where they're hurting?
I've got it to a whole new level. I mean, just the shit they're saying about me. I mean, the most painful I got. Well, one was just very succinct. It just said, "Big head, small arms, no neck."
Man, that was
really, just purely perfectly articulated.
It was such brevity.
It was like, it was little to the point where I was like, that's what's wrong with me. Like he put into words my own self-hatred. I was like, there's something wrong with me, but I don't that's it. Big head, all arms, no neck. That
always hurts when the comments are the ones you can't change. Like, what are you going to go to head surgeon? I guess they exist. I don't know.
You can't change that configuration. But
he wrote it as if there was a character limit. He was like, I want no fat on this comment whatsoever.
Right. Yeah, unlike me, he was going with no fat. And, I'm like conditioned. I'm just making fun of myself before other people do it.
I did that. I've been doing that for years as a form of protection.
Yeah, well, that's what they say about comedy. Hank Azaria said, people do comedy to control what people are laughing at about you.
Oh,
did he say that normally or in a racist accent?
Oh wait, but I actually didn't mean Hank Azaria. Now that you say that, I meant Harry Shearer.
Okay.
Shearer?
The voice of Mr. Burns.
Yeah. But yeah, he did. He was like, when you try to make you got to control how people laugh at you.
Oh boy. Thank you. Come again.
You got to control how people laugh at you.
I got to acknowledge this. Your closet door is open, and I thought that was a person coming out of there. It's your loose jacket.
This is actually just a digital background of a really sad apartment. I'm actually green screening from a mansion right now.
Oh, that's great. That's a fungible item. You can buy and sell that sad background.
I should probably close the door, right? It's like,
well, I don't know what's behind there. It's actually
no. I feel like I was big timing you by not closing the door for the podcast. I feel like I'm not gonna do shit.
Yeah, that's what big time does.
Right.
I should be back on the show.
You can always tell like how little someone thinks about another podcast by how fucked up the shit they say is, because like they know that it's not going out. Like they know that no one listens to the podcast. I like to go on people's podcasts and just say the N-word, just to show them how little I'm concerned about their level of fan base.
All right. So on this awkward note, we'll get into my new segment idea that I talked about with Steven a half hour before we talked to you.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Andrew has a new idea for the show that we were just gonna try out. Let's hear it, Andrew. Pitch us this idea.
Okay, so the idea came to me because our last guest kept taking us to a dark place where she teared up and wasn't exactly hilarious. But so I made some lighthearted anxiety prompts of things that happened to me, and I want to hear what you would do in the situation. And then after I ask you what you would do, I'll tell you what I actually did.
And great job throwing your last guest under the bus completely.
Notice how quiet I got. I want to know.
Last guest was so depressed. We've changed the entire format.
Yeah, I didn't want any association with that.
And in case you're wondering which guest, it was our last guest.
Well, we've had episodes.
Andrew has this habit of throwing people under the bus.
Well, she's not going to listen to it. I mean.
You're big time in your own podcast. You're saying fucked up shit, hoping no one notices.
Yeah.
But you are correct, and I think it's fine.
We're not saying it was bad. It wasn't funny.
We just know that there's going to be a conversation after about whether you all should delete this. But I don't think you should.
I think it's fine. Honestly, I don't think, even if she got a comment that said they said it was really dark, she'd be like, "Yeah, I was crying."
I guess she's aware it was dark if she was crying.
That's why I don't think it was a big deal, Steven. I don't know.
Well, I will refuse to say anything and wait for this segment to start.
Okay, all right, everyone. Well, I'm just giving you some groundwork for my mental process that no one asked for. But all right, so these are some things that happened to me this week, and I already explained it. So,
and this is different format than
This is different. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, than the last time you were on.
Okay.
But the last
format.
time, yeah.
I just don't want any curveballs. What if
The
I
last
did
time-
what if you asked a question? I was like, whoa, what the fuck? What kind of format is this? I am used to a certain format. What? What are you doing? We got a whole format I've latched onto for familiarity. One of the comforts in my life that keeps me sane is the consistent format of the show I've never been on. It changed the format so abruptly. I have nothing to hold on to in this world.
Wait, quick rapid fire. Raanan, what's the name of the podcast?
It's Andy and
Andy and the kid.
it's Steve and Andy are anxious at the zoo.
We got to do that more often. That's fun.
I was like, what's the name of the podcast? I don't even think I know the other guy's name.
well, that question insults us all. So
And-
it's a good way to open it.
Well, but you never go by Andy, do you?
No, some people
Your
have
dad's
tried in
named
my
Andy,
past.
right?
My dad goes by that because we have the same name for some reason. You know,
Well, that's 'cause he
yeah.
picked it.
Oh,
I know you probably get confused all the time or not how to go by. You know, Ron's, Ranny.
right,
Ran.
right. Well, I mean, people do say different shit with my name. You know. what I
Oh,
mean?
do they?
Yeah, we'll be like Raanan, Ronan. Someone call me Ronan, like I'm a fucking
So-
samurai
well,
warrior.
that's just mispronouncing it. It's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
nickname.
Well, that happens a lot too.
Do you have a nickname?
I go with Ron. I mean, if it's like really loud and I don't want to, like, if I'm at a loud place and which I like, and someone like asks my name, I don't say Ron on it. I don't want to have to repeat it 12 times. I just say Ron. And it's nice to feel like I'm not Jewish for a second. It's like,
Ron, yeah, that's like an Italian guy with a big chain and a wife beater. Outfit.
yeah, exactly. So it's a nice break for myself.
It's cosplay. Cosby.
But anyway, So I think I'm ready. I'm ready for you to just switch formats. Let's
Okay. All right. Well, shifting gears here. All right. So, Raanan, what would you do if you realized halfway through a conversation of somebody you know that you realized your breath smelled? Well, would you acknowledge it? Would you play it off? What would you do?
What if I just started crying immediately? I was just like, it just reminds me of the time my grandmother was murdered by a man with terrible breath.
Oh man.
But yeah, what was the question? I wasn't even really
Okay. So, like, you had that set up no matter what I was going to ask.
Wait, what would happen if someone has bad breath?
No, if you had bad breath and you kind of like, you can kind of realize as you're talking that, oh my God, I think my breath smells like it's bouncing off the guy you're talking to. Or
What would I do?
yeah, what do you do if it's already out there to the person's nose? Do you call it out like, hey, I'm sorry, my breath smells, or do you pretend just keep going?
I mean, how sure am I that he knows that I have bad breath?
Well, he's like making a weird face, and you kind of like think back, like, oh, I haven't had water in like three hours.
Not water. Water. Is that
Yeah, like if you don't
is
drink
that
water
how you
in a
think
while,
cleans bad breath? Just water?
well, it can affect it. You ever go to a stale pond? It doesn't smell great. You know, like that's what your tongue is. I feel
I
like
think you have bad breath because instead of Listerine, you just only use water.
I brush my teeth with water every day. I don't know why I have all these cavities.
If I have bad breath, I mean, if I really feel like they know, I'll be like, do I have bad breath? Yeah, I don't have any shame. I just say, do I have bad breath?
You just call it out right there, like, do I have bad breath, right? And then what do they do? What do you do if they say yes? What would you do?
Well, I mean, what do you mean? Kill myself? What can I do? I don't understand. What can I do?
Like, do you just keep going with the convo, or do you turn around? Like, there's no fixing that unless you have gum.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, honestly, can't you just take a couple steps back?
I don't know. Maybe
I think it's a great
yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
Just take a couple steps back.
Not only is it a great solution, it's the only possible and very obvious solution to this question.
Well, these are two robots asking you how to be human. So
I would not know to do that. So
well, what else is it? What do you make out with them and hope that you just leave
now
it
your
in?
breath smells.
I mean, what else can you do?
well, this is two things I've done. The first
Okay,
thing
all right,
is
I'm sorry, I'm being narrow-minded. There's other
No,
options.
you're
well, yeah,
let's hear-
prepare
now
to have
let's
your
hear what
mind
Andrew did.
open. All right, so I immediately stopped talking and left, and then I called Steven because I realized I was talking to somebody else who told me my breath smelled, and then I realized I talked to Steven for like 2 hours right in his face. So I called him and I apologized that my breath smelled. And
What was this?
this was like maybe a year ago.
Well, how bad was his breath, Steve?
I didn't smell it.
So maybe it was a new smell.
Who told you your breath smelled? Just like someone else you were.
Well, it was my girlfriend. She was like, "Ugh."
Oh, Maddie, but
Maddie
she's your
told-
girlfriend. She was probably like, you
Yeah,
know,
but
you were like
The
making
only
out and
person
shit.
that's told me my breath smells is my girlfriend.
Yeah, I think you're confusing like intimate people who can smell your breath and like your breath has to smell really bad for like people who are not making out with you.
We
know
weren't
that.
making out. We were just talking. And then when she told me my breath smelled, I flashed back to everyone I talked to. Like, oh my God,
I see.
I've soiled every relationship I've had.
It was like everyone in your life that day. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It was just a big line of people. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Just
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's probably not. I mean, well, you weren't so you weren't making out, but you probably talk a little closer, right?
maybe I was just like, just like, hey, how's it going? I didn't even hug her, really. We just talked. Maybe you are subconsciously closer to the person you're dating, talking wise.
Yeah, I think maybe you are. I think you. I don't think like. I think you probably. I mean, speak much closer to that person. You know.
I know you've never had a girlfriend, but you have watched Riverdale, so I
have not watched.
You've done your research, have you not? There's a character named Jughead on that show.
Well, am I supposed to relate to that, or
no, not the Jughead part, but all right. I was just kind of getting sidetracked here.
I don't know where that came from.
The Riverdale's like the Archie people, but like in Dawson's Creek world, where they're like real.
Oh yeah.
So they kept all the character names. There's a guy named Jughead, and he's like a normal person.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know what. I'm not familiar. Riverdale is a thing of Archie. I don't really know the Archie comics.
Yeah.
Well, there's just a guy named Jughead. Isn't that bizarre to have just a character? No one's talking about. Hey, your name is weird. Can you just change your name? And it even sounds racist to me.
Where did this?
I know this is the moment where you realize you're talking to an alien. Where you're like, there's something about that segue that just was so abrupt.
Andrew,
Sorry,
how did you get from Riverdale, from bad breath to Riverdale?
Oh, you didn't know I didn't have a girlfriend, and then I've never.
I thought like how would somebody who never had a girlfriend learn about people who have girlfriends talking? I thought Riverdale.
Oh, well. Anyway,
I will
Sorry,
say,
everybody.
Andrew, your breath doesn't stink, but your segues do.
I know, everybody. I'm gonna call you in a year from now and ask if it smelled.
Hey, have you had water? Okay. I've got one.
All right.
All right, Raanan. You're talking to a friend, and then you realize they have a booger hanging out of their nose. Do you tell the friend, or do you just hope someone else does? And
this is wrong for me because I just say my mind. So these aren't like complicated.
Well, that's
You
good.
know what I
I want to hear a
feel
stance.
I would just say you have a booger in your nose.
You would just say that? What if you didn't even know the
I
person?
feel like these questions are like, if you were thirsty and there was a water fountain right there,
That's for
would
you, though.
you drink from the water?
That's,
well,
that's for you. That's in your perspective.
Yeah, I tell them they have a booger coming out of their nose. Wait,
You didn't.
wouldn't?
If you didn't even know them, you would just go like, "Hey, booger."
Yeah, who gives a shit? Who gives a fucking shit?
I mean, people with
world is
feelings. People
dying.
with feelings. I don't know.
But it's more respectful to say something.
it's
It's also not that embarrassing. Like these things aren't that embarrassing.
To me,
Well,
that would be life crushing. If somebody told me a stranger told me I had a booger, I would like.
You've had a booger coming out of your nose this entire fucking time, and your breath smells. Even from Zoom, your breath fucking smells.
See, I know. Thank God it's a Zoom because I'm getting triggered right. Like my palms are sweating right now from saying my breath smells and I have a booger in my nose.
I'm spaghetti.
I guess I don't think these are big. I mean, I don't think these are big like complicated questions. You know what I mean?
That was never stated.
Well, this is supposed to be lighthearted.
I feel like you really overcorrected. Last week you're like, so tell us the first time you were molested, and this week you're like, if someone's hat falls off in the breeze, do you tell them to pick it up? I I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want to go back to the other format. I want to go back. Whatever
You
that
wanna get
other
to the-
format was. Let's go back to the other format. Yeah.
The dark and gritty.
I'd rather be asked about me being molested than.
Well, this is how we're opening it. So we can get there. We can get there eventually.
Well, one time I was talking to Andrew, and he had a booger the size of a icicle sticking out of his nose, and I didn't say anything.
Did
But you
not?
called me. You called me later, didn't you?
No, you called me as soon as you got in your truck and saw it in your rearview mirror.
But that's like, I mean, no offense, but that's like,
Oh, that's right.
That's like disrespectful. Now.
I
Unless you were
agree.
talking with him, but
I agree. I did the wrong
You were
thing.
too afraid to tell him.
I was too nervous to bring it up and embarrass him.
I get there are embarrassing things, like if someone like there are embarrassing things to bring up, but I don't know. Boogers can happen to anyone, you know. I think what's embarrassing to bring up.
That's a good book title.
I think it's embarrassing to bring up like something where the person should have known better. You know what I mean? So if someone's breath always smells,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
like a tough one to bring up
Right.
because you're like, have you ever thought about brushing your teeth? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to like pretend they don't know. You know what I mean? Have you
Right.
ever tried
Have you-
this thing called toothpaste? Like you
Have
know,
you thought of like taking out all your teeth and replacing them with plastic?
But like for the occasional bad breath, the booger out of the nose, these are
Yeah.
are occurrences that happen. So maybe a rule for you.
Dude.
Can't believe I'm helping you all with it.
No, you're helping. You're great.
This is fun anxiety. My anxiety is like there's no meaning in the universe, and you're all just like.
That's why we have this segment.
Well, this segment is to ease into your anxiety.
I wish I had this whimsical anxiety, but yeah,
Whimsical.
But,
I mean, this is good to have different perspective because this is life crushing.
Amateur anxiety hour. Amateur anxiety hour. Booger, come on. What are you? What is this? Like a Seinfeld panic attack? Come on.
Yeah, we put in the music and post.
Well, that's good. We want a perspective of somebody who has different anxiety than us. So that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
I think if it's something where it's like they should know better. That's tough. But like with something that can happen. Here's a rule for you all. Sorry, I didn't mean to trivialize.
Oh, you're doing great.
I didn't mean to trivialize your anxieties. My rule for you all, I guess, is if it's an occurrence that can literally happen to anyone, then it's not really embarrassing.
I don't know. For some reason,
You only think it's embarrassing because of societal norms are like very strict compared to reality. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everything in society, the ideal version of it is much cleaner, much less. But in reality, people are, picking fucking, candy bar they dropped on the street. They're picking up when no one's looking,
Right.
They're eating in bed. They got food crumbs in bed. I mean, not everyone, but like a large majority of people are, we're we're grosser than the idealized version of society. We're far.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
We shit in our pants once, a couple years or.
Well, let me ask you this. So if you met somebody for the first time, they had a huge booger coming out of their nose, wouldn't you always be like, hey, that's the booger guy? Or would you get past that?
Oh, if it's like every time?
No, just the
one
first
time.
time. The first time you met somebody and they're like, hey, I'm Bill, and they huge booger. And then you said, hey, you have a booger in your nose, as you said you would per your protocol.
Uh-huh.
Would you always associate that person with having a huge booger in their nose, or would you get over it?
Oh, if it's like a first time. I see.
First meeting.
I mean, I think I forget. I'm sure I'd like to think they would do something else that I would associate. At some point, they do
bigger
something
booger?
else. Yeah. They jack off in front of me or something.
They got to do something more extreme.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll
Like,
eventually do something that makes them think. They have a But yeah, I don't.
Because that's my fear. The meeting to somebody for the first time, having the booger.
But you'll never know. So who gives a shit?
I think
I would if I met somebody.
You
the
would
first
never
time
know that they associate it with you or not.
But I would think that's what would kill me mentally.
But that's your thoughts, not their thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I asked you if you would get over it. But your reaction made me seem like you would still remember them as the booger people. So.
But the difference is I wouldn't care. Like I wouldn't care about associating them with that. Like you perceive it as if you care, you're thinking they really care that they think about that way with you. But it's more
true.
like, oh, the guy with the booger, but other shit too. But you're putting your own feeling and your own sense of self-importance into their association. They don't have that.
So your view is there's no such thing as bad publicity. So if I'm the booger guy, then that's
Well, you're not going to just be one thing. I mean, do you think? I mean, if you know the person, Maybe if you only maybe if you only see them every once in a while. But if that's the case, who cares? They're not a close. If they become close enough to you, were you concerned about how they think about you? They would at that point be too close to only associate you with that. They would have all the other impressions that would overshadow that initial association.
If I'm meeting you for the first time, Andrew, and you have a booger hanging out of your nose, but then every time I see you, you only talk about that booger that was in your nose, then you're the booger guy.
Which I would do, yeah.
Then you're the booger guy. So you can prevent you being the booger guy.
Only you.
Only you can prevent you being the booger guy.
I just associate you as Maddie's boyfriend. Like that's my
That's a title as well. I did meet you before I dated her, though. I feel like, or maybe it was around the same time.
That's how insulting it is. And
I know.
You'd be lucky to be the booger guy.
I'd rather be the boyfriend than the booger guy, so I'm relieved.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another one for you. All right, so imagine you're at your living room and you're playing. I don't know if you play video games, Raanan, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. This might be hard then.
I mean, I've played them before.
Do you do anything? Do you like have any board games that are embarrassing or card games like Magic the Gathering or something?
No.
You don't do any.
I mean, I do embarrassing shit, but I'm not like.
Okay, like what do you do for fun that would be embarrassing to somebody else?
I take a bath every day.
I knew that was going to throw him off.
You're like, this is a safe space. That was a real mocking laugh right there.
I didn't react.
Well, I was actually shocked.
You're like, do you do anything embarrassing? Anything at all? And then I say, I like take a bath. You're like, ah! Really?
Well, I thought that was a joke. I mean, that's not that embarrassing.
Well, it's even more insulting. They thought it was a joke. I just thought this thing you do every day was so insane. It clearly was you attempting some kind of joke.
So I
have no.
What's embarrassing is you just sitting in a bath. That's normal to me. I don't do it, but
yeah, no, I take a bath every. No, I don't have any shame about it. I have a little shame.
Well, how
do you have bath shame?
A little bath shame.
Really?
That's what that's a bath party from Iraq, but
a little, but like not like too much, but just some.
Because do you bath bomb and all that with the candles?
No, I really should. I keep it pretty simple. I just read in the bath.
I feel like a bath bomb would be great.
I should do that.
I'm just laughing because that's not embarrassing to me, but I mean, I guess to each their own.
It's too late. You've already hurt my feelings. I associate you as a guy.
You're going to make our second guest in a row cry.
You're the guy with the mean laugh.
I'm the problem here. I'm the guy causing all this trauma. The bath, that's not a big deal. I mean, how do you clean your hair, by the way? Do you shower later or you just
I shower afterwards.
Okay. All right.
You shower after your bath.
Of course, I'm not a savage. I mean, you can't really clean, and I waste a lot of water.
Right.
Wow.
You can't even clean. I waste a lot of water because also I use a water pick, and I use it like a lot.
That's good for breath, at least.
Yeah. Well, hey, he's never gonna have bad breath. He's covered in water.
It's just water.
You're just wet all the time.
But it's you ever tried a water pick? It's pretty amazing.
I love it. Yeah,
I've never used a water pick.
It goes It can be a mess though with the water splashback.
I love it because you see the little with flossing. It's so gross because it's just like. Yeah, it looks like there's a period coming out of your mouth and there's fucking food all over the fucking mirror and shit. It's just kind of gross. But like you look like Robert Shaw at the end of Jaws when the shark like bites into him. But like with the water pick, you don't really bleed that much. And if you do, it's very simple. And then the food kind of just shoots down to the sink. And it's kind of relieving to see it. It's like very satisfying and meditative. But I use a water pick like 4 times on both up and down, so it's like I waste a lot of water between that and I take a cold shower before I take a bath, and then I take a regular shower after the shower.
There's no way your bathroom's dry when you leave.
No, not at all. I mean, mainly because I don't dry it.
Have you ever talked to anyone about this clean routine you do?
I mean, I don't think it's a problem. It's not like I'm a pedophile.
Well, just the cold shower before the bath. I thought that was fine.
I gotta get an intervention for this. Who am I talking to?
the cold shower before the bath. Why?
No. There's a method to that. I follow, Wim Hof, the cold water guru.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I do. I actually love it. I spend 3 minutes in cold shower, and it's a fucking wake up. I love it. So what I'll do is I'll put on hot water. Here's my routine. I'll put on hot water for like a couple minutes just to get used to it. And then I'll put it all the way to cold, right? And you feel that switch where it hits you, but it's hitting me on the face. So it's not too bad, but I do stand in there for a minute. And then the big moment is I turn around and have the cold water just hit my back.
Oh,
and
God.
that I'm like, I'm like at Lamaze class. I'm like pregnancy. It's like insane. I'm like, for like 10 seconds. It's like real, It's a real wake up. And then I stay there for another 50 seconds, turn back around, make it it's already pretty cold, but I make it freezing as possible. Another minute. And then I turn it off. And I'm like, kind of like almost like crying, but it's great.
That sounds horrible. That sounds like a torture of self-flagellation.
Yeah, I'm surprised my roommates haven't brought it up because after I'm done, I'm just like,
My good Lord.
But then I go like, and I feel like alive. Yeah.
And then you get in the bath.
How do you know the time increments? Are you timing yourself?
I'm counting it in my head.
Oh,
wow.
Geez.
Yeah.
Man, you'd really withstand torture in Abu Ghraib pretty well. I feel like
I love it.
You just described the routine that they get info out of people.
It really wakes me up. It really like calms me down and wakes me up. And it takes, if you feel anxiety, if you're ever feeling really bad anxiety, just take a freezing cold shower because you can't have anxiety under a freezing cold shower.
Yeah, I feel like that's at Maslow's hierarchy of needs because you're like, I got to get warm. I can't worry about my breath smelling
it's like an overwhelming physical sensation.
Well, when Andrew takes a cold shower, he's like, booger, 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 booger.
I just put the faucet in my nose.
But I also, at the last 30 seconds, when it's really cold, that's when I try for a little bit to like breathe deeply, try to separate myself from the feelings I'm feeling.
Wow.
Try to look at myself feeling really cold.
I love all of this.
This is crazy. I'll try it out. I'm not a stranger to crazy things, but I'm not
just try it for like 30 seconds. The great thing about a cold shower is the minute you do it, like it's not hard. Like the minute you're under it, you've done it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like you can do, maybe it's hard to stay in it, but you can still like do it at any time,
And it's a discipline builder.
Discipline builder, and I honestly think it helps with anxiety. I mean, I guess I'm a fucking mess, but maybe I'd be worse.
Maybe you'd be dirtier for sure.
Yeah.
I think the worst part about the cold shower is the surprise for me. Like you expect it to be hot, and then it switches to cold because you used all the hot water. So maybe going into it knowing it's going to be cold might be better for me.
Well, of course, if you're deliberately doing it, you know what I mean. But like, I think that it really wakes me up. It's great. I love it. I remember I got that. I think I got that idea because one time I was in North Carolina or something. I was at a comedy festival, and there was a sliding rock where you can like ride down into freezing cold water.
Okay. And
I did it, and it woke me up so much. I was like, man, I would love to do this every morning. Just like slide down into freezing cold water every morning, But the cold shower is actually kind of worse because it doesn't get your whole body at once. So it's like you're constantly always freezing the more you move,
I think about that.
Yeah.
I bet the towel off is pretty good. The towel off at the end, you're like,
yeah. And I love just looking at how small my fucking dick can get. By the end of it, it's just like I'm pretty much 3 minutes into a cold shower. I have a micro penis.
Yeah. Your anxiety is like your penis. It goes away.
It goes away with a cold shower. Yeah.
It just blends in with your goosebumps.
It's just a little button. Yeah. Sucks. It must suck to have a micro penis.
It would.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because because I think the hardest part is like knowing like when do I bring that up,
Well, you want to date a woman with thick glasses.
Yeah. Or a really small cunt. All right.
A micro. Be like, yeah, do you need one of your questions on the first date? Does your gynecologist use a microscope? That'd be great. Great news.
Yeah, I should have just said. I should have just been like, or a 6-year.
Oh my God!
Jesus,
I chose the C word, and it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Oh man!
But maybe Woody Allen had a micro penis. Maybe that was the whole,
Maybe that's
boy,
thumb sucking.
So excited for tonight.
I'll tell you this: we've been watching it. I know that you know that. My girlfriend Caitlin loves this love's probably a wrong word, but she's very interested by this documentary.
That's a great thing. Like we can't deny it. It's fucking entertaining.
It's very entertaining.
We're watching it as entertainment.
It's very crazy. But I'll tell you this: I got in huge trouble last week because I fell asleep during it.
Oh,
And you
And
didn't fall asleep through a Bill Cosby documentary. That would have been.
I fell asleep during it. She woke me up, and I heard every bit of it. She was so mad at me.
For falling
well,
asleep?
yeah. Well, you could point at the screen and be like, "Hey, it could be worse."
Yeah.
Obviously.
Why is she mad at you? Oh, like because you fell
Because
asleep.
I was she took it as indifference towards the trauma.
Oh, okay. Well, she
Yeah.
really, in my opinion, where I think it's not true. No, I'm joking.
Well, I got to fight.
I'm joking. I
don't
think
even-
it can go either way.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I could say this, but did you guys? Moses isn't in there, right? Moses.
No, he's not in there. And he says, like, Moses specifically says he heard Mia coercing Dylan.
Right, and that there was he pokes holes in everything, and it's
a fascinating, whatever. I probably shouldn't say whatever. Who gives? The truth is,
I just think he should be in there. Like,
yeah, it's
I
a
think
weird.
they're keeping him out of there. I mean, it's good.
No, apparently declined it. But
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So at least they asked him. That's good.
I'm pretty sure he declined it. But though Woody Allen and Soon-Yi say that. See, that's the funny thing. The whole story, every piece of evidence has a counter argument to the point where it's just like insane.
And
There's
that's
a
why
counter argument there to the point where it is a uniquely crazy story. Like it's not like your classic like guy assaulted like 50, not class. I don't mean to say that's like the golden oldies or something, but like it's not your greatest hits kind of.
It's not like super clear. Right.
It's unique to itself. And it does have, and don't get me wrong, I think Woody Allen is a piece of shit, and what he did with Soon-Yi is awful. And you can make a good case that he should, he should be hated alone just for that. But the thing with the daughter is so bizarre, and like
which one? Which with the Pharaoh or
Dylan? Sometimes
Dylan,
Sometimes he definitely did it, and other times I'm like, I don't know actually. And I just go back and forth, and it's obviously the documentary is designed to make you definitely think he did it, but there's other information, so I don't know. But then again, maybe he is just evil and I'm just completely biased. I really don't know. I'm very like unsure about the whole thing.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. He's still making movies. So, and then they had a criminal trial, right, or something. I don't know, but I don't want to get too much into
They were going to have a criminal trial, and then
they declined to prosecute or something.
Declined to prosecute because this teams of child sex abuse counselors said that they didn't believe she was sexually abused, and they said there might be evidence that she was coerced. But then the documentary makes a case that team of sexual abuse counselors were being I guess just being biased or just very unprofessional. But I don't know.
True too. Yeah, I just don't know. So anyway, my fight was I brought up this counter argument, and then that was a big fight. But
nothing ruins momentum like bringing up an old.
You finally found out you don't care about the podcast. You brought up a crazy.
I guess that's true. Woody Allen and Bill Cosby and Michael Jackson. That's what I think about. You're all fucking numbers.
Oh man.
I think he did it. I mean, I'm just gonna say that so I can have a career in life. But no.
Yeah, that's not what's stopping you.
All right. Andrew's new segment takes 40 minutes long. So we're
we're still on that segment? Jesus
I
know we got
How
off
many segments
track.
are there?
so now we haven't even gotten to ask Raanan any questions about his own anxiety because
I know we have to get to the listener topics too. So I don't know.
I am well aware. I've been trying to steer this ship for at least 30 minutes.
The wheel is spinning like crazy over here.
You're both trying to steer it towards different verdicts of Woody Allen. All right, Raanan, I know you well, and I know you're a very anxious person. There's no easy way to get into this because it's taken so long, so we have to just be right to the point. Can you give us more of an
I have to get right to the point. I am going to get right to the point this very moment.
Well, now I know who the robot is. Damn.
There will be no But
I know you're very anxious and you have panic attacks. Do you have any crazy panic attack stories? Do you have anything that stands out?
Yeah. Let's see. One time, well, before I was moving to New York, I was freaking out. I guess there was a lot of anxiety building up, and I thought I was having a heart attack. I went to the ER, and it was like a 4-hour wait, which always sucks because you're like, there's no way this fucking panic attack's gonna last 4 hours. So I'm just gonna be fine by the end. And then I was like, I probably should leave, but like,
right.
But that's the thing about the ER. Like the ER is like you don't want to be last at an ER. You don't want to wait till like the end, but you also don't want to be first because that means you're dying. But you don't want to go in and be like right away. It's like the ER is the opposite of like a nightclub. You don't want to skip the line.
You don't want to give the bouncer $20. It's the EMT guy.
Because that means you have like a bullet in your head, and they're like, VIP treatment at the ER is bad. But I think they saw me after an hour, and the nurse, there was like a nurse, and I was like, I think I'm having a panic attack and shit. And she's like, well, we have to test to make sure it's not a stroke. That really freaked me out. And then she started telling me the symptoms of a stroke, and I just started getting all of them. Like,
you're smelling toast.
Goes slack, and I just started. So I just started getting all the symptoms, and it was crazy. I mean, I guess that's not that crazy of a story.
What if she was like, by the way, you have a booger hanging out of your nose?
I would have manifested it.
I would have asked for a nose transplant. The thing we learned, because we usually have a therapist on and she helps us with the anxiety in a professional setting, I'd like this whole episode, but this she said that the panic attacks only last like 20 minutes. Like your adrenaline goes up, and then after that, you're like kind of good to go. Do you have ones that longer?
And ones that last fucking months? What are you? 20
what
minutes?
Like your heart? You can't have your heart pump that fast, like that.
No,
long.
but there are other panic attacks aren't just your heart.
Right. I've been with Raanan where you had it for a full week or so at the time.
At one point, I was like, I feel like I was lightheaded for like 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I would argue that's not a panic attack. That's something.
Well, it's anxiety. I guess
it's anxiety. Yeah. You're having an anxiety attack.
Yeah. No, that's true. The worst panic attack I had them. I'll tell you a quick one. This is so I used to be addicted to Adderall, and I went to a this is when I lived back in Louisville. I went to a psychiatrist. And I told her I was addicted, and she was like, well, we could prescribe some for you, and then you'll no longer be addicted. So
to an illegal substance?
Yeah, I got a prescription. I was like, all right.
What kind of ho-dank
I was like,
doctor is this?
I was thinking rehab, but sure.
Sure, enable me.
Enable me. That's another option. So she gave me Vyvanse, and I got really addicted, and I started running out.
Oh.
And I started running out, and then I needed to buy like some more, but I couldn't find some one day, and I found this guy, and he was like a very shitty drug dealer, and I asked him if he had any Adderall, and he said no, but he had this other drug that his uncle made in his basement.
Oh my God.
So I took it, and
God.
I mean, that's just, I would argue, organic Adderall. So
he said it was like synthetic Adderall, so I took it, and
synthetic, yeah.
And I was working at the time. I was a greeter at H&R Block. Because that's the only job I could get. The only experience I had was in saying hello, and so
you really got to make sure you're focused on
that. Isn't HR on a block like an investment place, like a financial advisors? Or
it's
is
a
that
tax.
a bank?
Tax.
It's a tax place.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Please file over here. You're scratching your face and you have blisters.
I was just like, hey, how can you get your taxes? And then I
your nose is bleeding.
Yeah, I started having a
should use a water pick.
I started having a full-on attack. I was convinced I was about to die.
Oh my God.
I literally called my twin sister and I said, it was nice. It was nice knowing you. I said, I'm about to die. It was nice knowing you. And then I hung up, and she was a little concerned by that. So I think they called the ambulance, and the ambulance came. And like they put me to the ambulance, and I was like fucking going crazy. And
of course,
I'm gonna die. And I'm like yelling at the MT, I'm like, "Am I gonna die?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "I took a drug. Am I gonna die?" And he's like, "I don't know. What drug did you take?" And I was like, "I don't know." Do you know?
Synthetic.
I was like, "Do you know Matt Milton's uncle by chance?"
Have you ever been to his basement?
Yeah. And so we got to the hospital. My heart rate was at 190.
Oh my God.
which is pretty fast for me. Usually it's like 170, and they gave me some pill to calm me down, some other drug to calm me down. It's always
drug
drugs.
was made in my aunt's attic.
Yeah. My aunt made this in the kitchen. And here's a little bit of my cousin's. So I could have just let you have the joke and not.
That's all right. We know that it was better.
Not build on it in the most lazy fashion.
Yeah, then
What you said, but me saying it instead. But it turned out the thing was bath salts.
Oh my God.
That's the one that made the Miami guy eat that guy's face, right?
Yeah, homeless guy's face. Yeah. Not only does it make you a cannibal, it makes you cannibal with a really shitty palate.
Yeah, gets rid of all your germaphobe tendencies.
Yeah, it makes you like the fucking Jimmy Johns of cannibals. Where you just eat homeless people's faces. You can't even eat. You can't even eat good faces. You have to. It's like, ugh.
Here, let me tag it.
Any face will
like
do.
if you were, you eat people.
You think all the other cannibals?
Yeah.
think all the other. You think all the other cannibals judge that guy? They're like, ugh. Like they just look at him like people who eat at Subway.
Oh, that guy's face was $5. So
I can't tell if you're doing the lazy tag bit or not.
that one was real.
That was a real
that's
one.
it with effort. I know it's hard to tell the difference. So that happened, and then I went to drug rehab. I guess that's about drugs, but it was it was a pretty bad panic attack.
Well, I would assume there was some anxiety involved.
Yeah.
When I met you, you said you were sober, but I didn't realize it was basement meth sober.
I know.
Not like you just did. You did a lot of
create
shots.
a real just kind of white wine sober vibe.
Yeah, right. Brunch margaritas at brunch kind of.
I remember I was having the meltdown and I was outside and I was like kind of going crazy, like yelling like a crazy person outside the mall. And I remember a father and son walked by and the father saw us and was like made the son go quicker as if like we were walking by a crazy person. And I remember thinking, wow, I've made it to the other side. I'm the crazy person. I was a crazy person looking at regular people.
Right.
Well, to be fair, that was
I crossed sides.
To be fair, that's what you got paid to do at H&R Block, but
yeah, true.
Stand outside and yell. But
he was the crazy person of the block.
I mean, they were right.
New kid on the block.
They were right to walk away quickly. I did have I had a homeless person's man in my mouth. So.
You just look like you're eating bologna without bread.
Yeah.
Like a homeless person would.
Yeah, right. Full circle here. It's a circle of life.
Man, well, we should get into the.
It was really.
This is just what we tried not to do, but it ended up happening.
It was the lowest point of my life, and
so funny. I can't wait for next week when Andrew has a new segment and go, man, our last guest.
That's a good idea for a podcast where every episode you just talk shit about the person who's on the last week.
Then we'll at least have one extra listener. They'll be like, what are they going to say about me?
That's actually hilarious. You just start this podcast, it's just a chain, and someone comes on and talks shit about the person. Great idea, but I guess the only person who'd be into it would be the person. It'd only be for the person.
Oh yeah, the narcissist that we had the week before.
Yeah.
Well, now you're gonna listen just to see if we're gonna keep your bid up. All right, so we got a lot of topics tweeted at us because we do a tweet that says let us know what's made you anxious. We'll talk about it on the pod. This first one's from Greg Stone, the comedian. I don't know. I think this one's pretty good though. He said, just sat down in a coffee shop and merely have to poop. Do I bring my laptop in the bathroom and let everyone judge me, or trust the A-Nix next to me not to steal my bits?
The what?
It's A-Nix. I don't know.
How is it spelled?
A space N-I-C-K-S. I think maybe it was a typo because the next he said "mot steal my bits" instead of "not." So maybe he's having an episode.
I think this laptop is the least of his worries. Greg might need to go back to elementary school and might have.
he typed that like he was pooping while he was.
I think he was or wiping. I don't know.
I always ask someone to look at it. I don't take a laptop into a bathroom.
Public bathroom too. I mean, maybe in my own house. I don't know.
I mean, if there's no one around, yeah. But no, usually I'll just like talk to the person next to me, be like, "You wouldn't mind looking at it?" You know, taking a look at it.
That's actually pretty suave. But I always feel the cringe of asking somebody to do something because I'm like, are they gonna have to get up like right? And then I keep them there while I poop. You know, like.
Yeah.
I guess you don't have that worry because you're not like us, but.
I mean, they can just say they're about to leave. You know.
Yeah.
I guess I would open it with like, "Hey, are you gonna be around?
Are you gonna be around for as long as it takes for me to take a shit? My shits last anywhere from.
Here's what I ate.
Here's what I ate. I had a hot dog, so that might.
That might come out easy. I don't know. It's
my app that I typed in the food on my app to say that'd be a good app to say how long your shit.
That'd be a great app.
It says 32 minutes. Are you gonna be? That's a long shit. 32 minutes.
I mean, that app was in the works, but Big Outback Steakhouse quashed it because no one would ever eat there.
Someone should squash that joke. And
Andrew, I liked your where you did the lazy tag.
So
sorry.
See, that's just his laugh. It wasn't that you take baths.
No, it's true. I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know the laugh before. No, that's you're right. I would say do that. Yeah.
All right.
You know, and it might not hurt Greg if someone took a look at his jokes. Maybe maybe he'll throw in some tags. I'm kidding. I love Greg.
Greg's the best.
One of the funniest people.
Okay, so we got one from Alex Vasquez. He asked us last week, but I told him we'd talk about this one. He said, "I'm having a panic attack. I'm being trained."
Why is it every topic that you ignore and save for next week is the most immediate, urgent one?
I'm about to jump off this ledge. This will be great for a month from now when Brian Regan comes back on. But we should wait.
Yeah. He said, "I'm having a panic attack. I'm being trained as a manager at my job without the pay nor the title, and I have to deal with a coworker. I can't really tell him to work better or anything because he can go to HR and say I'm harassing him when I'm telling him to actually do better because he does bare minimum at work." There's no punctuation there. I didn't read it like a psycho, but
I don't understand what the panic attack is. I feel like he's using panic attack wrong.
I feel like that too. Yeah.
I feel like he's one of those people who thinks anxiety and an anxiety disorder are the same thing. You know, these people like, I get anxiety. I get, when there's a fight, I get worried. It's like,
right. Yeah.
That's just worry.
That's just where life.
Here's the difference. Anxiety is when, if you know exactly what you're anxious about, and it's just like, oh, I'm anxious about this thing. That's just anxiety. But if you're suddenly like can't shit for a day and you feel like a tightness in your chest, you don't know why, and you have to fucking detective the situation out and be like, maybe it's because my father touched me, in an inappropriate place when I was 7, and I just walked by a place where they're selling the kind of soup he used to eat. That's an anxiety disorder.
Yeah, and then you identified the soup that was in his beard from that night. Yeah. So
it was really fun to see the physical sign for a callback.
I was gonna say you circled all back, but I lost all energy. Do I sound sick? I'm kind of like, do I sound? I guess it's just allergies.
You sound better than you did at the beginning. I feel like the talking might have loosened up.
He's the wrong person to ask. You sound good.
Sound good. I just have a runny nose, but I think it's allergies. My PCR test came back negative.
You're doing great, buddy. When's your second shot?
Thursday. Can't fuck it up. I'm so close.
You're doing great.
Sometimes the shot can make you feel like that too. Like,
Well, no, I know I'm probably gonna get sick. She really freaked me out too. She was like, second. She's like, first shot you feel a little, second shot is bad.
That's what I keep hearing, and I'm gonna be
Bad.
traveling.
You get a fever, you get a headache. They might have to intubate you. You could die. It's basically
What?
COVID. No, I'm joking.
Oh my god!
Jesus,
It's funny
Steven.
if that was like the exact same thing as COVID.
Oh god!
You have to quarantine for 2 weeks. You can't
Yeah,
travel on a plane.
you're traveling that day. Where are you going?
I'm going to Fargo.
Oh, is Regan doing something?
Yeah.
What is it actually in Fargo?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Have you ever been there, Raanan?
Yes. I was doing some gigs in the middle of, I don't know, the Upper Peninsula somewhere.
Wow.
And I drove by Fargo because I wanted to see the Paul Bunyan statue from the movie Fargo.
Yeah.
And I took an exit to go. It was like an hour out of my way, and it turned out that scene's not in Fargo, and the Paul Bunyan statue is not actually there anyway. It was like,
How'd you know? Oh, you just went to
it was
Fargo.
like made for the movie.
Oh no!
You went to Fargo like thinking, oh, that the statue will be here. I didn't know if you.
Yeah, because in Fargo, I got confused because in Fargo, like they have the kidnapping plan in Fargo, but they kidnap her in Minneapolis, and then the original shooting is in Brainerd.
Oh, okay.
That's where the Paul Bunyan statue is. Yeah, so I went there. So hopefully your time there will be more eventful.
Well, you could have saw the wood chipper.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
also was not, but that's not Fargo either.
Oh,
There's a wood chipper in.
no,
I'm
that's
saying
not in the city.
specifically
Oh,
in the
that's
city
right, right,
Fargo.
right.
Yeah, yeah. But great movie. I'm sure it'll be a fun show.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So we get a couple more topics. Hold on. I just lost the thing on my thing.
You think I should do? You think I should do NyQuil tonight, or is that crazy?
I do that if
NyQuil
I'm really sick. It just lets me sleep because the phlegm will keep me up. So
I'm not like-
knocks me
I'm
out.
not
But
like-
if you're sober, dude, I don't think you should do that.
I mean, I've
'cause-
done it a bunch already.
Oh.
but like, I don't know. I just didn't get to sleep last night, and so I'm exhausted.
I would do NyQuil.
Do NyQuil? Just fucking knock myself out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it also will alleviate anxiety, even if it isn't as strong. It still helps up here.
yeah, that's true. Maybe I'll do it. Yeah.
Isn't there like a strong allergy pill that knocks you out?
Benadryl.
Benadryl, yeah. You might have allergies, so maybe that's better.
Yeah, maybe I'll try that. Maybe I'll try something else first. I don't know.
Okay, so one last topic we got is from the Bossy Mayor. She said, the Bossy Mayor on Twitter, she said, someone I know is in a very toxic friendship and is refusing to acknowledge it. I am trying to stay out of it and be supportive, but they are going to get incredibly hurt. I guess it's a better topic for you, Raanan. You would step up. I would just be like, figure it out,
Well,
I guess.
It's not really about anxiety, but what's the thing again?
So she has a friend in a toxic relationship and she knows it's going to go south, but she's wondering what to do, I guess. If your friend was in a toxic friendship or relationship, what would you do?
A toxic friendship with someone else.
Yeah, not her. Yeah, she's the third party.
Oh, her friend is in a toxic relationship, like an actual relationship with someone.
It
And
says
she knows it's-
friendship, but yeah, friendship.
And she knows it's going to go bad. But
yeah,
I
she
think
doesn't know how to.
I don't think you can help. I mean, everyone views. First of all, you don't know it's going to go bad, and I don't know. I just feel like you have to have people just figure that shit on their own.
You gotta just have people just go in a basement and take a
Yeah.
pill.
You can't just be like, "This friendship's bad for you." I guess you can. I guess it depends on how toxic it is. I don't know.
Yeah, some
I
people
would ask them questions to see if they figure it out for themselves.
Yeah, see how much they think.
Yeah. I would ask them questions like, oh, how does it feel when that person does that? Or do you think that's something that someone should be doing? Like, I wouldn't flat out tell them, but maybe ask them questions so they get there themselves.
If you flat out tell them, some people get defensive. Like,
Correct.
You're better than me. Well, I'm gonna commit to this friendship. And
Right.
And why do you think it's toxic? Is it toxic?
Yes.
Is it toxic because you really think it's harmful for that person? Or do you not just like this other person?
Right.
Everyone has a different relationship with everyone. So I don't know. Just kind of, there's a lot of other variables,
Yeah. Is it a catchy song for Britney Spears or is it?
Yeah,
Something else.
exactly.
All right. Well, that's all the topics. I think we hit right on time, Stephen.
That was beautiful.
Unless you have a way to close it out. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that was great, Raanan. I want to get your plugs in. What do you got coming up? What do you want to tell people about? Where can we find you? All that good stuff.
Yeah, I've been pegged so many times. When I hear plugs, I never know what like they've been in this whole time. I mean,
Oh man,
that's the only way I can get through this. So when is this coming out?
Tomorrow.
Oh shit. Oh shit. I have nothing. No,
We can make something up.
I got things. Joe and Raanan talk movies. That's my YouTube thing podcast. Or it's actually gonna be a podcast now.
Cool.
We're finally put it on, but that's you can watch the videos on YouTube.
What's the address? Is that its own thing? Joe and Raanan talk movies.
No, just type in just go to Joe List's YouTube page. It'll show it up. But you can just type in Joe and Raanan talk movies. Follow me on Instagram, Raanan Comedy, RAANAN Comedy. I have a lot of shows, videos and stuff. And I'm doing some club dates, but I'll post that. I'll post it online. But yeah, follow me on Instagram.
Plug the
Awesome,
album. The killer album.
Downhill Ever Since, my album on Sirius. Actually barely on Sirius, but on Spotify. I've made depressingly little money from it. You can listen to it on
Great
Sirius.
album.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Perfect. Thank you everybody for listening. That's our show. Stay tuned for the outro.
Thanks for having me. All
Awesome,
right.
man. Thanks for doing it.